This video is about how holidays expose the difference between weak men and strong men. Weak men escape into pleasure, distraction, and comfort. Strong men use holidays as leverage to build discipline, clarity, and advantage. The purpose of this video is to wake you up and show you how to use time when others waste it. If you want strength, respect, and long-term power, this mindset is non-negotiable. Subscribe to the channel if you want real guidance, not feel-good lies. Holidays strip life down to its core. No alarms, no bosses watching, no external pressure forcing you to move. This is where truth shows itself. When structure disappears, your real character comes out. Not the version you perform at work, not the version you show on social media, the real one. Weak men collapse the moment routine is gone. They wake up late, they scroll endlessly, they eat garbage, they drink more, they procrastinate and call it rest. They say they deserve a break. What they really mean is they have no internal discipline. Strong men do the opposite. They notice the silence. They notice the lack of pressure, and instead of wasting it, they take control. They create their own order. They wake up at a set time. They train even when no one is watching. They read, they plan, they build, not because they are forced, because they choose to. This is the difference. Weak men need someone to tell them what to do. Strong men tell themselves, if you only function when there is a boss, a schedule, or a threat, you are not disciplined. You are domesticated. Discipline is what remains when nobody is checking, when nobody cares, when there are no consequences except the ones you create. Holidays expose men who rely on external structure. Remove the rules and they fall apart. Remove the pressure and they rot. Strong men do not fear empty days. They use them. They understand that free time is either a weapon or a trap. Most men let holidays weaken them. They lose momentum. They break habits. They return worse than before. Strong men return sharper, clearer, more dangerous. Because they understand one brutal truth. If you cannot command yourself, you are not free. Holidays do not make weak men weak. They reveal it. And strong men do not become strong during holidays. They prove that they already are. Weak men spend the entire year waiting for permission to shut down. They count days until holidays like prisoners counting time off their sentence. Not because they worked hard, but because they hate their daily life. For them, holidays are not recovery. They are escape. Escape from responsibility. Escape from pressure. Escape from thinking. Escape from facing who they are and where their life is going. The moment holidays start, they turn their brain off. They replace thought with noise. Food, alcohol, parties, endless scrolling, dopamine hits until the day blurs into nothing. They call this rest. But rest does not leave you weaker. Rest does not destroy your habits. Rest does not make you feel empty and anxious when it ends. What they are doing is avoidance. They avoid silence because silence forces reflection. They avoid stillness because stillness reveals dissatisfaction. They avoid discipline because discipline exposes lack of control. So they numb themselves. They overeat. They drink more than usual. They sleep randomly. They stay up late doing nothing meaningful. Not because they need it, because they cannot sit alone with their thoughts. Holidays become a socially accepted form of self-destruction. No one questions it. Everyone does it. So weakness hides behind tradition. But look closely at what happens after. They return tired, not refreshed. Unmotivated, not focused. Heavier, not sharper. More frustrated, not clearer. That is not recovery. That is decay. Strong men understand something weak men never grasp. Rest is not escape from responsibility. Rest is strategic recovery, so you can carry more responsibility. Weak men run from their life. Strong men build a life they do not need to run from. When a man needs alcohol, distraction, and chaos to feel okay, that is not celebration. That is a warning sign. Holidays magnify this. They expose who depends on stimulation to feel alive, and who can sit in quiet and still move forward. Weak men fear boredom, because boredom forces growth or collapse, and they choose collapse. They say they need a break, but what they really need is direction. They say they are tired, but they are tired of living without purpose. Holidays do not relax weak men. They remove the last excuse, and what remains is emptiness. They are not recovering. They are running, and every time they run, they fall further behind the man they could have been. Strong men do not confuse rest with indulgence. They know the difference because they pay attention to results. Rest is strategic and intentional. It has a purpose. It has limits. It serves performance. Decay is comfort without boundaries. It feels good in the moment and steals from you later. Strong men rest so they can return sharper. They step back to reload, not to disappear. They sleep better. They eat cleaner. They reduce noise. They protect their energy. Their rest is calm, not chaotic. Quiet, not overstimulated. Controlled, not impulsive. They do not need constant pleasure to feel alive. They are not afraid of stillness. They use it. When a strong man rests, his body recovers and his mind clears. He thinks about direction. He reviews what is working and what is not. He prepares for the next push. Rest makes him more dangerous, not softer. Weak men do the opposite. They collapse into comfort with no limits. They call it rest, but there is no intention behind it. They recover from nothing, because they were never truly disciplined to begin with. There is no structure to step away from, no standard to return to, so they numb themselves instead. Screens replace thought. Food replaces discipline. Alcohol replaces control. They wake up heavier, slower, mentally foggy. Not recharged, not focused, just dulled. That is decay. Decay feels like freedom until the bill arrives. Loss of momentum, loss of confidence, loss of self-respect. Strong men understand a brutal truth. If your rest makes you weaker, it was never rest. Real recovery restores power. Fake recovery drains it. Strong men ask one question before they rest. Will this help me perform better tomorrow? Weak men ask a different question. What feels good right now? That single difference separates growth from stagnation, progress from decline, men who lead from men who cope. Strong men do not disappear during holidays. They slow down with control. They keep their standards. They protect their habits. They understand that discipline does not turn off. It only adjusts, because once you lose control of yourself, even temporarily, it becomes harder to regain. Rest is a tool. Decay is a trap. Strong men know the difference. Weak men learn it too late. The human brain is wired to chase easy dopamine and avoid effort, and holidays pour gasoline on this weakness, because everything tempting becomes available, acceptable, and encouraged. Food, sugar, alcohol, entertainment, laziness, distraction, all of it is framed as deserved and normal. Most men never question it because their brain loves shortcuts more than progress. Easy pleasure feels safe, it feels rewarding, it feels justified, especially when everyone around is doing the same thing. Holidays amplify this because temptation becomes socially approved. You are no longer weak for indulging, you are celebrating. You are no longer lazy, you are relaxing. You are no longer avoiding discipline, you are enjoying life. This is how comfort addiction hides behind culture. Most men cannot say no when temptation is normalized, because saying no would force them to admit they lack control. It is easier to blend in than stand firm. It is easier to follow the crowd than resist it. Discipline is hardest, not when life is painful, but when weakness is applauded. When everyone is sleeping and eating trash, scrolling endlessly, and numbing themselves. Discipline feels extreme. It feels unnecessary. It feels lonely. Brain then starts negotiating. You tell yourself one day will not matter. One more drink will not hurt. One more hour of nothing is fine. But comfort addiction is built through these small repeated surrenders. Strong men understand this psychology. They know the brain does not want what is best, it wants what is easy. So they do not trust impulses. They do not rely on feelings. They rely on standards. They know that every time they say yes to comfort, they are training their brain to avoid effort. And every time they say no, they strengthen control. Holidays expose men who are ruled by dopamine versus men who rule themselves. Weak men let the environment decide their behavior. Strong men enforce their standards on the environment. Discipline during chaos is what separates men who lead from men who follow. Because if you can stay disciplined when weakness is normal, you will dominate when pressure returns. Strong men see holidays not as an opportunity to escape, but as rare open space. Less noise, fewer obligations, fewer interruptions, create something most men never experience: mental clarity. When the constant demands slow down, the mind finally has room to think. Weak men rush to fill this space with distraction, because silence makes them uncomfortable. Strong men protect it, because silence gives them power. This is when they reflect honestly, not emotionally. They review the year without excuses. They look at what worked, what failed, where they lied to themselves, where they wasted time, where they avoided responsibility. They do not romanticize the past or blame circumstances. They take ownership. Planning becomes sharp during this time because it is not rushed. Goals are not vague dreams but calculated moves. They recalibrate direction, adjust strategy, and cut what no longer serves them. Holidays give them distance, and distance creates perspective. Clarity is never built in chaos. It is built in stillness. When noise is removed, patterns become obvious, mistakes become visible, weakness becomes undeniable. Strong men do not fear this because clarity, even when uncomfortable, is strength. They would rather face truth than drown in distraction. While others are numbing themselves, strong men are sharpening their mind. When the holidays end, they return focused with a plan and momentum because they use the quiet to think instead of escape. Weak men are defined by their need for external validation. They cannot stand alone, so they mimic those around them. If everyone eats poorly, drinks excessively, scrolls endlessly, and wastes their time, they do the same. They fear judgment more than failure. They fear being seen as different more than they fear stagnation. Holidays reveal this clearly because social pressure is everywhere. Events, parties, gatherings, online, culture all push the same formula of indulgence. Weak men obey automatically. They tell themselves it is fun, it is normal, it is deserved, when in reality it is weakness hiding behind conformity. They are slaves to habit and approval. Strong men do not need permission to be disciplined. They do not look left or right to decide what is acceptable. They have their own standards and they follow them without hesitation. When everyone is going one way, strong men choose the opposite direction, not to rebel but because they know the path of least resistance leads to decay. They eat well, they move, they read, they plan, they train. While others collapse into comfort, they are not thinking about judgment, they are thinking about growth. They understand that strength requires isolation from weakness and that standing apart is a sign of power, not arrogance. Following the crowd is easy, but it builds nothing. Real leadership and real progress require courage to move against the flow. Holidays magnify who can resist the pull and who cannot. Weak men are passengers of their environment. Strong men are pilots of their own course. Every year the same pattern repeats. Those who follow the crowd fall further behind. Those who resist the pull accelerate ahead. Weak men celebrate conformity as freedom. Strong men celebrate discipline as freedom. The difference is what separates a man who leads from a man who drifts through life unnoticed. Holidays are the ultimate test because they remove all external constraints. There is no boss to demand results, no schedule to enforce routine, no pressure to keep you moving. Most men fail this test spectacularly. They wake up late, waste hours on meaningless activity, indulge in every craving and call it deserved rest. They are unprepared for life outside of rules and consequences. Strong men see holidays differently. They understand that freedom is not the absence of discipline, but the opportunity to practice it without oversight. Every decision becomes a measure of self-control. Every meal, every action, every hour is a choice, not a default. They train their body and mind because they know that true strength is revealed when no one is watching. This is where character is forged. Weak men rely on external forces to keep them in line. Strong men rely on internal standards. They move, eat, think, plan, and act even when there is no obligation. Even when there is no reward, even when no one notices. The holidays become a laboratory, where habits are tested, weaknesses are exposed, and new discipline is cemented. If you can stay sharp when nothing forces you, when every temptation is available, when comfort surrounds you, then you are dangerous in real life. You are the type of man who can handle chaos, pressure, adversity, because you have trained yourself to act without guidance, to maintain focus without external motivators, to execute regardless of circumstance. This is why strong men do not collapse during downtime. They turn it into a proving ground. They return from holidays stronger, more focused and unstoppable, because they treat every free day as a training day, and every moment of temptation as a chance to build resilience. Weak men call it luck. Strong men call it preparation. Every Holiday exposes the difference between a man who drifts with life and a man who shapes it. Strong men understand that real progress is never glamorous or popular. They know the world rewards action, not excuses. While weak men sleep late, scroll endlessly, binge on entertainment, and disappear into noise, strong men rise early when the world is quiet. They train when gyms are empty, pushing their bodies beyond comfort. They read when minds are numb, absorbing knowledge that others ignore. They write, they plan, they strategize, while others chase fleeting pleasure and applause. They do not seek recognition, because they understand the power of invisible work. Discipline is silent, consistent, relentless. This is why strong men accelerate, while the crowd lags behind. Progress loves unpopular choices, because easy options produce easy results, and easy results produce mediocrity. Choosing the hard path when it is lonely, choosing focus when others are distracted, choosing restraint when indulgence is normalized is what separates men who lead from men who drift. They build skills while others waste time. They build character while others compromise values. They build momentum while others are trapped in distraction. Every action done in solitude compounds. The hours when no one is watching are the hours that define destiny. The habits formed while others celebrate loudly create power quietly. Strong men know this and embrace it. They do not follow the calendar to party. They follow their own code to grow. They do not envy the attention weak men seek, because they are building something permanent, not temporary. They understand that consistency beats spectacle and preparation beats chaos. Holidays are a test of who will rise above and who will fall behind. Weak men conform, strong men create. While others sleep or indulge, strong men lay the foundation for dominance, future success, and unshakable confidence. They are patient and relentless, knowing that real results are earned in silence, not applause. Most men enter January defeated before the year even begins. They spent the holidays collapsing into comfort, overeating, drinking, oversleeping, scrolling, and numbing themselves. They traded momentum for temporary pleasure, and now they wake up heavier, slower, foggy, and frustrated. They feel the weight of lost time, the shame of wasted days, and the anxiety of goals already slipping out of reach. Every failed decision compounds, and by the first week of the year they are behind before they even try. Strong men do not suffer this fate because they treat the holidays as an extension of their discipline. They maintain habits even when rules are relaxed. They train their body and mind while others collapse. They reflect, plan, and recalibrate, so that when January arrives they are already ahead. They do not need motivation because they never stopped moving. Momentum is everything, and strong men know that the start of the year is not magic. It is the result of preparation before the calendar flips. They carry energy, clarity, and focus into the new year while others struggle to regain what they threw away. Weak men spend weeks recovering from decay. Strong men start January as if they had never paused. They have the advantage of consistency, the advantage of control, the advantage of planning. Their progress compounds while the weak scramble to catch up. Every day of lost discipline is a debt they must pay with stress and guilt. Strong men enter January already winning because they invested in themselves when it was inconvenient, when it was lonely, when no one else cared. They understood that the year is decided not when it begins on the calendar, but in the days and weeks before. Strong men make their own edge while weak men regret theirs. They understand that preparation in silence creates dominance in public, and that the first month of the year is merely a reflection of what was built while others celebrated. Time is relentless, indifferent, and unforgiving. It does not pause for holidays. It does not care if you are tired or hungover or distracted. Life keeps moving. Whether you act or waste it, every second lost is gone forever, and the weak men surrender it willingly. They scroll, they nap, they indulge, they wait for external pressure to move them. Strong men see time differently. They respect it because they understand that mastery over life comes from mastery over moments. They know that every hour invested compounds into power, influence, skill, and freedom. They plan, they act, they train, they reflect even when the world is quiet, because they are aware that time is the ultimate currency. It cannot be earned back. Once it is gone, and no apology or celebration can reclaim it. Strong men organize their days with purpose, not convenience. They create structure not because it is imposed on them, but because they understand that structure multiplies output and minimizes regret. Holidays are a test of this philosophy. Do you let the days slip through your fingers, or do you use them to grow, advance, and dominate? Weak men let time use them. Strong men use time to shape their body, mind, habits, and future. They turn moments of free time into steps forward. They turn silence into strategy. They turn temptation into strength. Every decision about how to spend a day is a vote for the man you are becoming. Every choice to act instead of indulge compounds into a life built, not borrowed. Strong men do not chase time. They harness it. They do not complain about lack of hours.
They maximize every available second.
They understand that the men who succeed are not those who wait for opportunity, but those who create it with deliberate use of time. The holiday season is a microcosm of life itself. It tests who can wield time and who is controlled by it. You either master the clock or become a prisoner of it. You either use time to become strong, powerful, and unstoppable, or you waste it and wonder why your life did not change. Strong men choose the first option every single day. Holidays do not make you weak or strong. They reveal what you already are. If this video made you uncomfortable, good. That discomfort is where growth starts. Subscribe if you want to build discipline, clarity, and real strength. And remember, weak men celebrate freedom. Strong men earn it.